Hello, today is Monday, July 27th, 2026. Here is your daily signal. According to Bloomberg, Brent crude traded above $100 following a new wave of Houthi attacks in the Red Sea, with reports of both a widening conflict involving the US and Iran and warnings from President Trump of potential military escalation. The Houthi movement, which operates out of Yemen, has targeted shipping lanes and oil infrastructure in the Red Sea since 2023, leading to a surge in attacks that disrupt major oil supply routes and create significant geopolitical tension. Notably, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a critical choke point, carries about 10% of global seaborne oil trade, and disruptions here have a strong history of pushing oil prices higher and triggering military responses. On July 27, 2026, Reuters reported that Houthi drone and missile strikes led to a 3% increase in Brent crude, while the Financial Times confirmed that Maersk and BP suspended their Red Sea shipping operations after the latest missile barrage. These developments position Saudi Aramco, BP, Shell, and ExxonMobil among major stakeholders, with prominent government and international actors ranging from U.S. defense officials to maritime authorities and the United Nations monitoring the risks. Looking ahead, experts forecast oil price volatility, with Brent crude possibly hitting $90 per barrel if attacks persist, alongside higher insurance costs and shipping routes likely to increase global energy expenses and inflation risk. An expanded naval presence in the region could follow, and continuing instability is expected to impact OPEC policy while accelerating efforts to diversify away from oil dependency. Next, we turn to Bahrain's actions during recent U.S.-Iran strikes. According to the Associated Press, Bahrain activated warning sirens early Friday, urging residents to take shelter after the 13th consecutive night of U.S. military strikes against Iran, a reflection of the heightened regional tensions rippling through the Persian Gulf. As the host of the U.S. Fifth Fleet, Bahrain plays a critical role in Gulf security and coordinates its civilian defense through extensive emergency protocols and government directives. In the wake of these strikes, Bahrain stepped up maritime patrols, as reported by Gulf News on July 27, and its Ministry of Interior issued public statements calling for adherence to emergency procedures, a move confirmed by the Bahrain news agency. Additionally, the U.S. Fifth Fleet has heightened its alert status in Manama, according to Al Arabiya English. Key agencies including the Bahrain Ministry of Interior, Bahrain Civil Defense, and the U.S. Navy are all working to manage the crisis, while facing potential threats from Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. The short-term impact includes disrupted shipping and growing anxiety among Bahrain's residents, while longer-term effects could involve tighter defense cooperation with the U.S., pressure on oil exports and economic stability, and a rising risk of cyber interference with strategic assets in the country. Now to the world of cybersecurity. As reported by TechCrunch, AI guardrails are increasingly impeding the work of offensive cybersecurity researchers. After OpenAI and Anthropic introduced stricter guardrails designed to restrict exploit-related queries, researchers at leading institutions have run into major obstacles. These guardrails, technical and policy barriers meant to prevent misuse of generative AI in sensitive fields, have sparked debate over how to balance safety with the need for robust vulnerability discovery. On July 27, TechCrunch detailed how OpenAI's new policies prevented researchers at MIT from using ChatGPT for automated vulnerability scans, triggering both an increase in false positives and a drop in productivity. Security Week confirmed that Anthropic's latest model restrictions triggered delays in federal cybersecurity and infrastructure security agency CISA-funded penetration testing. Meanwhile, the Register described how Google's more stringent guardrails forced Stanford's R&D team to pause simulated attack research after Gemini API access was blocked. Major stakeholders include commercial players such as OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google DeepMind, as well as organizations such as MITRE, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and federal agencies like the U.S. Department of Defense and NIST. In the near term, over-restrictive guardrails are expected to slow down vulnerability discovery and patch development, with the risk that some skilled researchers turn to less regulated or open-source tools, fragmenting research efforts. Delays or obstacles to legitimate research could leave dangerous gaps in compliance with cybersecurity guidelines, while the debate over how best to balance safety and security innovation will likely intensify. Now, onto the markets. International markets saw a mixed session, with China large-cap stocks leading gains as FXI jumped 2%, while the Netherlands fell slightly. Germany and Italy both posted moderate gains. Spain outperformed in southern Europe. Commodities were volatile. Gold and silver each rose a little over 0.5%, but U.S. oil retreated sharply by over 8%, making it the day's top commodity mover. In equities, Adobe surged more than 5% while Microsoft and Oracle rose modestly. Nvidia dropped nearly 5% and AMD lost over 5% as chip stocks pulled back. Looking at sectors, finance climbed 1% on broad strength, while semiconductors fell over 2%, closing as the top sector laggard. In standouts, FGI Industries Limited. Warrant FGI soared more than 400% for the best gainer. Instinct Biobiot plunged over 80%, the session's steepest loser. That's it for today. You can find more news and details on our website. Goodbye.